Joe, we know this is a tough subject. Nobody wants to separate kids. What is irking you?
Well, I think that senator missed a perfect opportunity. That's when you pretend your microphone and earpiece don't work.
Yes.
You don't just start fumfring like... If you believe Trump is that bad, then you don't need to make fake photographs, and you don't need to repurpose photographs from 4 years ago. It's a serious issue, and it should be treated seriously instead of ignoring it the way the people who had the reins of power for the past 8 years did. It's not going to be easy, and there's going to be a lot of suffering, but I think what pisses off the left the most is the idea that there are people who want to come to the United States of their own volition. That's what drives them nuts. Because if that means that the United States is not the worst racist hellhole for non-white people, then their whole value system gets exploded.
That is an interesting and very perceptive thought.
I do what I can.
All right, Emily. You are the legal mind. And I want to ask you, is basically Trump's sin is trying to enforce laws, and he'll enforce a law if they change the law, right? Isn't that kind of how he is? Or
right, that's exactly what's happening, is that he's trying to enforce the law, but he's running into the same conundrum that Obama did, which is essentially if you please the masses, then you're not enforcing the law, and if you enforce the law, then people are up in arms. And I think this issue is, it's an iceberg, and the reality of our southern border and the 9 border sectors of it is that it's not just about the drug cartels as being these linchpins. It's the messaging, first of all, that's been oversimplified by both sides, and also we have to think about what's pushing and driving these people so desperately to our borders, and what is the pull factors that we have on our side attracting them, which includes now catch and release and under the former administration. So I think the journalists that are doing the best work there, people like Brandon Darby and Aura Bogado, they're amazing because they're not subscribing to that messaging, and they're really committing to the fact that it's actually diplomacy, which is where we need to put our efforts, and that there's a lot more people involved in these cartels that are financiers and bankers and attorneys in these places, that they are far more powerful than the actual cartel heads. But again, messaging just reduces it. So how are we to actually combat these Central American pull factors and push factors if we don't actually know the whole picture?
Emily, you're smartest stuff this week. Cyrus, I feel like
my mic ain't working. I'm not following.
I was going to say.
Ask me about Dennis Rodman.
All right, Dennis Rodman is going to Honduras to we were talking earlier. It's like it seems like the left got this is Christmas for them.
You finally got one.
Yeah.
But they don't know what to do with it. They're like a dog chasing a tire. It's like, oh, we got him. And they just fumble it away because they just don't know how to play their hand.
Right. They overplay the hand.
Yeah, it was a bad week for Trump. When he does well, we have to say, good job, Mr. President. And when he has a bad week, we're going to say, hey, pull it back. The pundits didn't handle it right. Everybody kind of went into business for themselves. They said whatever they wanted to say, and because it's an ugly thing. But here in the States, and this is something that on the social media I kind of got into it this week, was like if someone in this audience has their children in the car with them and they get pulled over for misdemeanor and they go to jail, their kids go to the system.
Right.
Like being arrested and committing a crime is a rough, ugly thing. It affects a lot of people. And your children, if they're with you, if you're choosing to break the law, they go to the system.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the reasons why you're coming to this country. I get it. I grew up in California. I was around a lot of immigrants that were coming in. One person, awesome. And for the most part, they were there to work, raise their families, and they worked hard. So I kind of have there's also that bad element. And we have to be able to screen, because even if you let in 500 great, hardworking, soon-to-be American citizens, and one of them's a mass murderer, that's one too many.
Yeah.
And we have to screen, and we have to vet, and we have to do those things.